Like we were saying we think who's gonna win.
Who do you think is gonna win?
Shelby, because
yeah, Shelby.
she just flipped over and got 2 points.
Yeah, me too. I think it's Shelby.
It's basically an in-house tournament where we had some different events as far as, you know, our younger Tiny Tot kids did some relay races. They did, like we call it King of the Ring, where they have to stay inside of the square and try to push each other out. So basically what the goal was to just provide a safe, you know, kind of environment where the students can compete, but it's not, a lot of times when you go to the tournaments, you know, we don't have enough time to explain why we're doing stuff and the rules, things like that. So it kind of allows the kids to compete, get a taste of competition, but we're able to, you know, explain some of the rules, explain to them the do's, the don'ts. Just, you know, I think competition in a sense is good because it allows the students to see where they're at as far as what techniques are working. You can really tell how hard you've been training and the effort you've been putting in by the result you get out of the tournament. And I'm a true believer in this, that what you put into the training and the practice is what you're going to get out of it. So a lot of times for me when I was competing, when I really was focused and took the training 110% and tried to do the training as best as I could, that's when I found I had the best results. And sometimes, you know, you go through the training maybe not focused and not doing things as best as you should, and the results in the competition kind of speak for the way you train. So I kind of wanted the kids to have an experience of that, and it allows us as instructors to see what, kind of assess the techniques and assess the curriculum and see where we can get better, and see what moves are working, you know, where we need to improve on, maybe what we're doing good at, things like that. And you know, I think as a whole, you know, and I always tell the instructors is, no matter how we think we're doing, we always should be trying to get better as far as maybe coming up with better curriculum or find better ways to teach it, or you know, whatever the case may be. The tournament allows us as instructors and as a staff to see what we're doing and kind of reassess and keep staying on the right track. Yeah, so we had, so for our beginner and our intermediate kids, we had the newaza, which is like the groundwork. So they did some sparring on the ground, and then in our intermediate class where we start teaching the standing, they did the tachiwaza, which is a standing sparring. That's as close to a real judo competition as you're gonna get. So it allowed, so there's a lot of, like, I guess customs, and I guess it's a protocol is the right word. You know, during the tournament you have to bow before you get on the competition area, and you have to bow to your opponent, and then, you know, the match starts. You have to be able to understand kind of the commands of the referee. They give verbal commands, you know, they give body motions with their arms to signal penalties or points. It just allows the students to get a taste of it. And like I said, in an environment where it's not so cut and dry, and a lot of times when you go to the tournaments, you get, if you're not doing something correctly, they give you a penalty and they don't explain why you're getting the penalty. So I believe in, we want to teach the students, but we also don't want to discourage them from competing. And a lot of times, because they don't understand what they're doing and they just don't have the experience competing, you know, they get discouraged. And it's a lot of stuff to learn. You know, it's hard to learn everything before you go to your first tournament. And this is a way to just kind of slowly teach them the protocol, the scoring, the thing that comes with the tournament, the nerves. Yeah, so we bought some medals, and I feel like it's, when I was young, the medals or the trophies were the kind of for me, it was the inspiration to compete. I believe that a lot of the kids, they enjoy getting the medals, they enjoy getting the trophies. I want everyone to deserve kind of what they get, in the sense where we're not just giving everyone a medal. You know, you have to compete, and it's okay. Some people didn't get a medal and some people lost, but that's okay too, because they always say, like, when you lose, you learn a lot more than when you win. So losing is okay if you're always willing to get better and learn. There's a lot of good things that I think competition teaches people. So this is the first one we've had in in a few years, just because of COVID and just because, we basically just put it off. But I think we'll try to do 2 or 3 a year, just the in-house tournaments, and get the kids. Kind of my goal with starting the club was I came from a competition background, but I didn't believe that there's so much good things that judo can teach people and you don't need to compete to learn it. But on the other hand, there's competition also teaches a lot of good things as well. But I didn't want to have a club where everyone had to compete, and if I forced everybody to compete, it kind of excluded those people that just wanted to learn judo for recreation. Judo to me teaches a lot of good life skills as far as being able to work hard, have discipline. I think as overall it was good. I think everybody had a good time. Yeah, we try to make it a big event, because for a lot of them it's 1, 2, 3 times a year where they can kind of show their parents what the moves they're working on and how hard they've been training and things like that. So it's for them it's a big deal. We try to build it up and we try to make it a big event. Yeah, so when we had them start, so our Tiny Tots program is like 3 and up. So we had kids as young as 3, 4. So those kids, because in those classes we don't really, we're not really teaching them the judo yet. They had an option of doing kind of like form, like demonstrating the form of the moves. So like demonstrating the falling, and they also did some relays. It's almost like a one-man relay where they have to do a forward roll, a bear crawl, a duck walk, and we chose 4 different exercises and we put them in different meets, and we kind of made like a preliminary round, a semifinals, and then maybe if the beginner kids did groundwork sparring, which is newaza, and the older ones did the standing, which is the tachiwaza. We tried to make it as real as possible. So we had a referee for the sparring part of the tournament. We had a referee, and we had some scoring, but we didn't really score it the way that they do it in the real competitions. We kind of just did a running time where you can get as many scores as you can in the time, but in a normal tournament, if you get a full point, in judo we call it ippon, if you get that, then you win the match. But we just kind of did a running time and as many scores as you can get within the time. If I got 3 and my opponent got 2, then I would win, or vice versa. No, there's no expectations as far as like competing more. It's just we just want to give them the opportunity to try to compete, and we do have comp classes, and we do have kids that are pretty serious about competing, but that again isn't for everybody. In the sense, like, everyone has opportunity if they want to do it, but I really believe that if you want to compete, you should do it the right way, and that means to not so much, when I mean the right way, it's like if you were going to compete, you have to prepare yourself the right way and train the right way. And if you do that, I believe that the competition, the results in the competition, like I said, they kind of reflect the way you train. So if you're training correctly and you're doing everything correctly in the training, and you should get some pretty good results in the tournament. What I'm looking for is development. I don't care about the winning and the losing. I just want them to train hard, develop correctly. And if they're developing correctly, then eventually the wins and the losses are gonna come. And you wanna. My whole goal is for the kids that do compete and our kids that do compete nationally. My goal is not to win when you're 5 or 6, to win when you're 18, 19, 20, in the senior level. So a lot of times in the beginning that takes losing and that takes kind of learning. The only way you do that is through training correctly, and you need experience competing. The only way you're going to be good at competing is if you compete. Like with anything, you don't see very many people that their first tournament or if they're actually going up against real competition, you don't see too many people that can just jump right into it and be really successful. You got to compete, and you got to take your wins and your losses, and you got to keep learning and getting experience, and it's a long process.